Hey everybody, this is the Untold Stories of a Christian Girl. Yay, welcome back. My name is Lynette, and if you are new to Untold Stories of a Christian Girl and Untold Stories of a Christian Girl is new to you, let me tell you what we're all about. Untold Stories of a Christian Girl is all about encouraging and uplifting Christian women by sharing our story, by sharing my story. Revelations 12 and 11 says that we overcome not only by the blood of the Lamb, but also by the words of our testimony. Sometimes we need to hear the testimony of someone else in order to go on. We hear a lot of times, this testimony not even for you. And so, I'm here to share. And today I'm talking about being a teacher, back to school, encouragement for all of my teachers. So I am a current teacher in Baltimore City. I've been teaching for the past 3 years. I'm going into my 4th year. Whoop, whoop. Okay, now they say that after your 3rd year, you become a pro. I'm basically a veteran teacher. In my head, right? So I'm actually at a new school this year, and I feel like a new teacher all over again. Oh my goodness. But that is really because the expectations are super high at this school, and everyone is like, are you at a charter school? And I'm like, no, but it's a really good school though. Like, that's how great it is. This is a Baltimore City school doing amazing things, rated 4 stars in the state of Maryland. Like, whoa, that's awesome. We hear so much like negativity, so many bad things about Baltimore City and Baltimore City public schools. So it's so amazing and just refreshing to be in an environment that is just super positive, that is, known for all of their hard work. Like, you're not going to get 4 stars overnight. Like, it takes hard work. And it's just amazing that, everything that I prayed to God for, like, man, I really want to grow and develop as a teacher. Oh, they got that there. Like, professional development is legit. They are always pushing you to be better. Like, even talking about professional dress and attire, I was like, I want to make sure I want to dress professionally. Like, I love to dress up, and I really miss that, like, dressing up all the time. And like, it is an expectation at my new school that you are business casual, really business professional, Monday through Thursday. You're slightly casual on Fridays, slightly. So, I'm so excited. I'm super excited to be in a place that is gonna push me to the max. If anyone knows me, you know that I am like, I want to see how far I can go. Like, I don't like to just stop at the bare minimum. So, not gonna go into detail about my aspirations, but I do want to talk about how I got into the field of education. Like, being a Christian is more than just going to church. Like, everything is an assignment. As my pastor, my bishop always says, you are not here by happenstance. You are nowhere, like, God doesn't send you anywhere accidentally. You don't do things, oh, it's just a coinky-dink, coincidence. We say that, but that's not how it actually works, okay? And I actually got my bachelor's in social work, and I have a minor in leadership and public service. And I always knew that I wanted to change the world. I always had this in my mind, like, I want to change the world. I want to make the world a better place. I knew I wanted to work with kids, right? Like, I always knew those things, and I knew that I wanted to work in the community. And so even now, even though I'm doing this encouragement for teachers, I know that being a teacher is not the end goal. Like, I know that it's not gonna stop here. I love being a teacher, but like, there is gonna be more in the future. And so I started with saying, like, I want to do lots of community work. I want to open this nonprofit. Like, this was in 8th grade, right? And I just kind of kept this passion going. And I said, okay, let's do social work. You can help everybody. And I remember being in my sociology class and truly learning for the first time the scope of the education system in America and how it has failed so many, and just being a product of that system and seeing how the system has failed me in one way or the other, and how I had to struggle, like, you know, from kindergarten until 5th grade. I was always, sometimes I was a little chatty, but I was always at the top of my class, all A's and B's, right? Middle school, I started to slack because I thought I was, you get to that age where you think you're cute. But then, my cousin really encouraged me, like, look, you can be number 1 of your class, so I ended up being number 2, graduating as number 2 in my 8th grade class. And then to get in high school, I barely got into my honors classes, literally by like a point. And it's just, I will never forget. It's like this memory is like locked in my brain. Sitting in my honors math algebra class in high school, and it was like the first day, and we were going over vocabulary, and they're like, have you heard of this term? I can't remember what the term was. And people were like, oh yeah, we learned about that in 7th grade or 6th grade. Oh yeah, we talked about this. Back it up. I grew up in an all black neighborhood. I wouldn't say, like, it wasn't like poor, but definitely lower working class. That's just kind of what it was. There was not a lot of funding going into our schools. I mean, we had issues with like lead and clean water and never having a consistent administration, and teachers are in and out, old raggedy books. So no one cared about learning. And, we get bussed out to this nice high school in this rich white neighborhood with, cute little lake in the backyard. And, I'm in classes with people who, are coming from better school districts, and they know way more than I do. So how is this the American dream? How is the American dream fair? How am I supposed to pull myself up by my bootstraps? And I love to give the analogy when, we both were handed different materials. You have more material than I do. Your straps are longer than mine. So I need something to help me. And I'll never forget my algebra teacher. What was her name? Dang, I wish I could remember her name, but she was amazing. She spent every lunch period with me so that I can pass that honors class with a C. Like, I had to put in work. And to have that memory come back to me sophomore year of college, of undergrad, I was like, I don't want people to go through what I went through, because not only did it hurt me academically, but it hurts your esteem. It makes you feel like less than. So this was kind of the thing that drove me to education. Then I taught in South Korea that summer, and it was the most amazing experience of my life. I mean, not only being immersed in a different culture, but also just learning the effect that you can have on children. Like, we were in not a glamorous part, but a very rural area. We were in Jeonnam-do, South Korea, which is a southern tip, and we had people coming there. Some kids had English background, and some kids knew no English. So I had a Korean co-teacher, and these were kids who were coming in from farms, just different things. And there were like, I had the lowest kids in my class, and there were like 2 or 3 kids, like I said, who knew like no English. And one kid, they had to do journals every day, and every day he would say, I hate school, learning English makes, is bad, and da-da-da, because it was uncomfortable for him. It's like, sometimes it makes you feel defeated. And he went from that, right, writing maybe a sentence, to last day of camp, he wrote an entire paragraph. And not only did he write this entire paragraph, but he kept coming to me and a co-teacher for help because he wanted to do his best. And it was just like, wow, the impact that we had on them was mind-blowing. And that's how I knew I had to do education. So fast forward, I ended up doing BCTR, Baltimore City Teaching Residency Program, through TNTP. Whoop whoop, shout out to them. They are absolutely amazing. I know people feel a type of way about these programs, like, yeah, I get it, it'd be nice to have more time. But the thing about BCTR is they find passionate people, and they use this passion to drive us, to give our students the best content and just the best atmosphere that they need to learn. And that is, in my opinion, more effective than 4, 5, and 6 years of education. This is no shade to anybody, but you can get all of these years of education all you want. But if you don't have that passion and that drive to really teach the kids, if you don't do, and we had lots of cultural, diversity training. If you don't do those things, check your bias, then nothing else matters. That's the number one thing. So here I am, 3 years later, going into my 4th year, and just learning that I was truly on an assignment. And I remember when I first moved out here, I was always praying, like, Lord, I want to be your hands and your feet. I want to be your hands and your feet. And he really had me doing that. It was just being in uncomfortable situations. I mean, no one can imagine the trauma and the different things that the kids experience, right? And it was good that I came in with this social work background, because I was really able to relate to a lot of the kids and just create this safe space for them. And like my friend recently told me, this brave space where they can feel confident enough to learn, and where they can peel back these layers that they had to put on just to survive. And one last thing I'll say before I give my little encouragement, this is just like my success story. When I first started, I taught 4th and 5th grade social studies. So I had 4 homerooms. One homeroom was 40 kids. The other homeroom was like 38. Eventually it dwindled down to like 37 or something like that. But still, huge numbers. I probably bombed that year. But my babies still say they love me, and I don't know. Apparently I did something right, but I don't feel like it. You just don't feel like it. And but that 4th grade, I remember when they hired me, they told me these 4th graders were the most challenging kids in the entire building. The school was pre-K through 8th grade, and you telling me that these 4th graders were the most challenging? Not only were they struggling academically, but behaviorally. I mean, the behaviors were just, there were kids who needed a different environment to be their best selves, and it was not safe for them to even be in a general ed classroom because they did not know how to process their emotions. I mean, so much trauma that they're experiencing. Sometimes I know, like me as an adult, I struggle. So anyways, these, look, I'm using these kids phrase, but they were used to people writing them off, right? They're used to, and this is not everybody, because they've had some great teachers in the past, but they're used to people around them in general. Oh, you ain't gonna learn. Oh, you just bad. I've had kids even say that. Oh, I'm the bad kid. Like, what is that supposed to mean? I don't care if you're the bad kid, you still gonna learn, And so they're so used to people expecting less from them. And that's something that BCTR always taught us. High expectations make a difference. And I didn't have high expectations for them that first year because I was trying to survive. I'm not gonna lie, I really was. And then I looped with this class, and I started off day one. I said, last year we survived, but this year we're gonna succeed. And that's exactly what we did. I pushed them to the max. I told them that I gave them daily affirmations. I made them believe in themselves, and I pushed them to do the work. I held them to those high expectations. And I don't care what we've done last year or what has been. I'm not concerned about that. And when you push them, regardless, you say, yeah, I'm going to support you. I'm going to give you what you need. If you need a break, that's fine. You need to talk to the counselor, the psychologist, that's fine. But when you come back, we're going to get this work done. And when we did that, I had one kid, he grew 100 points on our iReady assessment. There was one girl, she is my success story. If anyone knows me, you already know who she is. I love her to death. And she went from the first year, when I taught her in 4th grade, all U's, which in Baltimore City is failing grades, to principal's honor roll, which is all E's. That is a drastic change. It wasn't that she wasn't capable. It was really mainly her confidence. And I told them they cannot use the word can't. I literally took their dojo points away. It's like a reward. And they met the mark. When you set the bar high, they'll reach it. And now everybody may not reach it, but they'll get closer than what they would have had you set the bar low. So here's my encouragement for teachers, okay? Remember, first off, you are not there by happenstance. God did not call you to be a teacher for no reason. He called you to be a teacher for, to do his will and to do his work. When Jesus is talking to his disciples, or, he's teaching in one of the Gospels, and he's explaining that, first off, no one can enter into heaven unless you become like a child. And he also says, like the worst sin, really, is sinning against children. Children are so precious to him. So anybody who's working with children, know that you have a lot of responsibility. So here's my encouragement, my tips for teachers, okay? Always remember your why. And this can apply to everything. Every year I wanted to quit. Every single year. Last year I wanted to quit. And I always have to go back to, why am I here? Because if you forget your why, you can lose your passion. Okay? 2, surround yourself with a good support system. You are not in this alone. Build up your village. Don't struggle by yourself. The devil wants to isolate you. Okay, and when you're upset and you're angry, you need someone to let you vent, but then to talk some sense into you. Problem solve, right? Don't do it by yourself because you can't do it alone. Okay, you weren't called to do it by yourself. Include other teachers. Include the parents. Don't say, oh, this parent don't care. You don't know that. Keep contacting that parent. Contact the administrator. Pull everybody in, because it truly takes a village. Not just to support that kid, but to support you so that you can be your best self. Okay? 3, going into this, take care of yourself. I'm still working on number 3, okay? You have to take care of yourself, because if you are not here, how are you going to teach the kids? If you are not here mentally, how are you going to teach the kids, right? There are some times where you got to just take a break, because you need a rest. You need to make sure that yourself is together for your kids, okay? 4, spend more time planning and less time stressing. All the energy and time you put into stressing, you could have planned something to solve that problem. Right? Problem solve. Yeah, you can vent, but come up with a solution. Don't just stop at the problem. Okay? So this kind of goes with being proactive versus being reactive. Okay, your lesson was crappy. The kids were wilding. You can stress about that all day, every day. But now it's time to think about, how can I plan for the next lesson? How can I plan so that this doesn't happen again? Okay? I recently learned that this week from our assistant principal. She said, know when to hold them and know when to fold them. I love that, because we need to learn when to let go and when to keep pressing on, right? We have to first realize that you can't save everybody. We have to get out of this savior complex. I struggled with that a lot. wanting to save everybody. But wanting to save everybody will stress you out, it will drive you crazy, and you'll end up being so behind because you're putting so much energy into this one person or this one thing. It's not to say, like, I'm not opposing, how Christ, he left the 99 to get the one. But in a classroom setting, I can't leave my 20 for this one. You can't. You have to find some balance. There are times when you have to, but there are times where you have to say, I've done all that I can do. It's time for me to move this on. That's a sad reality, but sometimes it's not meant for you to do anything except for what you're doing. I love the one scripture that says, one plants, one waters, God is the one who gets the increase. Is you've planted the seed and you may not see anything grow for a long time. Now it may be someone else's time to water, and you may never see that plant bloom, but you've done all that you can do. Okay. Consistency is key. This is one thing that I'm really working on. So I'm taking these tips in for myself as well. I used to have all of these great ideas, and my mentor would be like, listen, Henderson, you have so many amazing ideas, but you have to narrow in on one thing. You can't keep getting all these ideas and changing everything up every time you get a new idea. You have to have one idea and stick to it. You can't just say, oh, I'm gonna do something different because it didn't work. How do you really know if something works if you're not doing it consistently? That's how you really know. Okay. Be reflective. So this is actually something that I do in general because I have a journal. I remember even this is something that was suggested to us in BCTR, to have a daily teacher journal where you just jot notes every day. At the end of every day, you jot notes about what happened. And this week, our principal really pushed us and encouraged us to be reflective. Like, this work is reflective for multiple reasons. Whenever, we have to check our biases against the kids, outside of race or money. There are so many different biases that we have. Oh, this kid comes from this family. Oh, they all crazy. Oh, this kid was wilding last year. He gonna do the same thing this year. We have to check those biases. We have to be honest about it. Did I de-escalate this situation or did I escalate that situation? Was there something that I could have done differently? Like, if the lesson didn't go well, don't start with these kids just can't. Don't do that. No, start with yourself. Okay, did I model correctly? Did I provide the correct supports? Did I give enough time? Should I have taught it in a different order? Be reflective before you go on to say, oh, it's the kids. Look inward first. Look at yourself and what you can do to improve. Okay. And last but not least, I'm sorry, I stopped numbering, but number 8, this is my favorite. This is my motto. Always teach freedom. So you'll see in my little emails, like, I teach freedom, right? We are not depositing things into our kids. We talked about this in my sociology class. It's like bank depositing. That's how things used to be. That's why, you see the desk and chairs and rows and, the teacher is just giving knowledge, and it's like it was the factory setup, right? The whole tracking idea. That's kind of where a lot of education comes from, unfortunately. Structures in education, I should say. But that is not our job to just deposit information. It is our job to provide a conducive environment and the necessary tools for kids to effectively navigate the world around them. Give them what they need to be whatever they want, not what you think they should be, not go to the colleges you think they should go to. Give them what they need to make the right decisions, to be an active citizen, to care about themselves and the world around them, to make these decisions for themselves, not just do what people have told them to do or only do what they've seen other people do in their family. Unlock the world in their brains, right? That's what their job is to do, and that's my motto. That's the last one because that's the one I really want to drive home. As a teacher, it's not your job to make sure that they get the right answer, to make sure that they reach your level of success. Success is defined by the individual. Let them define their own success. Give them the tools they need to be successful. Okay, and let me say a prayer for all of my educators. Lord, I thank you for every single educator who's tuned in. It doesn't have to be necessarily a teacher, but I thank you for everyone who works with kids. I thank you for their heart to serve. Lord, I pray that you cover them in your blood. God, there's so much happening even with our children. They bring so much in with them, Lord, but I pray that every spirit that's not like you, it stops at the door, God, that it doesn't even follow them into the schools. God, I bind the spirit of, just death, trauma, the school shootings, the mass shootings. God, I bind all of those things right now in the name of Jesus. God, I speak peace to every educator, that they will be anxious for nothing, just how you said in your word, but to make their requests known to you through prayer and supplication. God, that you will use them to be your hands and your feet in this class, in the classrooms and throughout the world. All these things we ask in your name. Amen. Okay, I love you all. I'm praying for my educators. I'm praying for my students, and that we have an amazing school year.